All right, let's talk about that feeling of a completely scattered mind. Today, we're going to tackle it head on with a really powerful 10-minute protocol to get your focus back.
You know the feeling, right? You sit down to do something important, but your mind is just this chaotic storm of thoughts and to-do lists and worries. It's so frustrating. It's kind of like trying to run some amazing new software on a computer that's just completely out of memory.
But here's a really important shift in thinking. What if this whole struggle isn't some kind of personal failing? Not about discipline, not about willpower. What if it's just a technical problem? One with a clear technical fix. See, the problem isn't you. It's a condition called cognitive overload. And the best way to think about it is like your computer's RAM. When you've got way too many programs running in the background, everything just grinds to a halt. That's what's happening in your head.
So here's the bottom line. You can't focus because your brain is already working overtime. It's just trying to keep track of everything. Remembering that task, processing that conversation, planning what's for dinner. Your prefrontal cortex, that's the CEO of your brain, the focus center, it's just drowning in all this background noise.
Okay, so what are these background processes exactly? Let's pull back the curtain and look at the 5 hidden drains that are secretly sucking away your mental energy and making focus feel, well, impossible. First on the list is something called the open loop problem. Every single thing you haven't finished, every decision you haven't made, it creates what psychologists call an open loop. And your subconscious mind, it just keeps them active, constantly pinging your brain. It's not like you're actively thinking about them, but man, it eats up the exact same mental juice you need for deep work.
Next up, of course, is our digital life. Long after you've put your phone away or closed your email, your brain is still churning away, trying to process and sort all that stuff you just looked at. It creates this digital residue, this layer of mental static that gets right in the way of concentration.
Oh, and this one is huge. Emotional residue. That little argument you had or that frustrating email you got, it doesn't just vanish. Nope. The emotional charge from it stays active in your nervous system. It creates this kind of background hum of stress that just keeps breaking your attention into tiny pieces.
Then there's decision fatigue. From the moment you wake up, you're making hundreds of tiny decisions. What to wear, which email to tackle first. Each one sips away a little bit of your prefrontal cortex's energy. So by the time you actually sit down to do the big, important work, your brain might already be running on fumes. And last but not least, dopamine depletion. If your day has been a constant whirlwind of switching, jumping from email to a project to your phone and back again, you've basically drained your brain's supply of dopamine. And dopamine is the fuel for motivation and focus. Without it, your brain just doesn't have the drive to stick with one thing.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem. We know what's causing it. So now what? Well, now comes the solution. A super simple 10-minute protocol to close all those mental tabs and give your brain a clean reboot for focus.
So this is it, the whole sequence. We're going to go through each step, and you'll see exactly how it's designed to systematically shut down every single one of those 5 focus drains we just talked about.
First up is the brain dump, and it's so simple. For just 2 minutes, you write down everything that's on your mind. Get it all out. This one simple act can immediately free up something like 30 to 40% of your working memory. You're literally just closing all those open loops we talked about.
Okay, step 2 is the breath reset. We're going to use a really cool technique called box breathing. The whole point here is to flip the switch in your brain, taking it from that stressed out, scattered state to a calm, focused one. So you start with a nice, gentle inhale for 4 seconds.
And then you just hold that breath for a count of 4. This little pause is actually really important. After that, you do a slow, controlled exhale, again for 4 seconds.
And finally, you hold with your lungs empty for a final 4 count. That's 1 box. Just repeating this for 2 minutes is literally what brings your brain's CEO, the prefrontal cortex, back online and ready to work.
So, how does this all work? What's the science behind it? Well, the reason this 10-minute routine is so effective is because it's working with your brain's biology, not against it.
It really all comes down to this. When you're stressed, your nervous system is in its fight or flight sympathetic state. And in that state, your thinking brain, your prefrontal cortex, is basically offline. What the breath work in this protocol does is it shifts you over into the calm, rest and digest, parasympathetic state. And that's the state where your prefrontal cortex comes fully back online, ready for focus.
And you can see how this all clicks together, right?
The protocol works because it hits every single problem we identified. The brain dump? That closes the cognitive loops. The breathing? That regulates your nervous system. Picking just one priority? That kills decision paralysis. The quick tidy up? It removes those environmental triggers. And setting an intention? That actually creates the dopamine kick you need to get started. It's a complete neurological reset.
Now, this isn't just a one-time emergency fix. The real magic happens when you make this a daily ritual, because the benefits actually start to compound over time.
Think about it like this. On day 1, you're just going to feel immediate relief. By the end of week 1, you'll notice you can hold your focus for longer periods. Then by week 2, focus just starts to feel easier. It's less of a fight. And after a month of doing this regularly, you'll find that your baseline level of clarity is just so much higher. You're not just constantly cleaning up messes, you're actually preventing the clutter from building up in the first place.
So, when's the best time to use this? Honestly, think of it like a startup sequence for your brain. Do it before any big focus session, do a mini version after a break to get back on track. When you feel like you've hit a wall, don't try to force it, stop, and do a quick clean out. And, using it to end your workday, that's an amazing way to tell your brain, okay, we're done, time to power down.
And really, that's the big idea here. Stop trying to focus harder. Start by cleaning your brain first. It's not about muscling through with more willpower. It's about creating the right internal conditions for focus to happen naturally. Your brain was never broken. It was just cluttered. And now you know exactly how to clean it out.